what I did was I came up with this 3D printed object here, and there's a ring of lights and a magnet, and basically what's going to happen is the laser is going to shoot through the ring, so this can stay in place while the laser is running, and the ring of lights is going to shine light almost in line with the laser. Not quite exactly, but it'll be close enough so that when the light from the LEDs goes through the mirror system, it's going to come out the other end and project an image of this ring of LEDs on the object that you're going to cut, or whatever's in the path at the focal point of the laser cutter. So now this is the inside of the laser cutter. Move the cutting head out of the way here a little ways so it can work. And here's the part that I made. Basically that magnet is going to stick to the back, and we're going to position it right over where the laser comes out. And to get it to work, I have the power cable coming through the back, and I do have a switch on here to turn it on and off. So basically we'll leave that on, and that's essentially all we need to do. We're also gonna have to line it up to get it to work right, but it's essentially installed. And if we want it out of the way, we can just slide it out of the way. But now we'll go into a little bit of how I figured the best way to line this thing up with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the laser head out here. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to do a test shot. It's going to put a small hole in the piece of paper. So if we zoom way in on that, let's see. Okay, so there's the hole. So now I'm going to turn the light on. And I'm going to move it into position. And what I'm doing is I'm adjusting the position of the light ever so slightly, so that the hole, if I can get this to focus, so that the hole is in the middle of the beat of the circle of lights that are showing up there. And it's a little difficult to see on the screen, but looks like it's lined up now. So now I should be able to move this into any position. Let's move it there. Okay, so move it there, do a test fire. And there the laser's in the middle of a circle of lights. And as we move it, you'll see that as I go farther away from the left-hand side, the circle of lights actually gets smaller. But if I do a test fire over here, even though the circle of lights is smaller, the relative position of the laser relative to the circle of lights is the same. And it's a little difficult to see there that because of the way the alignment is, the lights on the lower right hand side are dimmer than the rest of the lights. And I believe that's because if the lights aren't perpendicular to the direction of the beam, I think that's what's happening there. So, but for my purposes, that's good enough. You'll see that we put it somewhere, turn the laser on, hit it, and it goes in the middle. And that's essentially all I'm looking for. It gives me a really quick indication of where we are, or where I am when I'm working with the laser, and I don't have to move anything out of the way, and it just follows it along. And the way I have it set up now is when I turn the laser off, the lights go off. I can obviously turn it off again with the switch in the back there, but that's essentially how it works. To make the light ring, I started with the flashlight, and we had two similar flashlights sitting around the house. One of them, the batteries corroded inside of and was not repairable, so I removed the LED circuit board out of that flashlight, and it came out as one piece. There was a spring attached to it, but that was easily removed. Then I removed the inner row of LEDs, and that left me with a ring of LEDs, and then the only thing left was to remove the material inside of the remaining LEDs so that I could pass the laser beam through that. So I used a Dremel tool, and I just ground away slowly through the middle of that and just removed all the material that I didn't need. In order to make the bracket, I modeled up a design in OpenSCAD, and then I printed that on my 3D printer, and I had a form-fitted place for the LEDs to fit into and a place for the large magnet to fit into, and basically just assembled all that together. And I used a wall wart with a 5-volt DC output to power the LEDs, and I put an inline resistor. I think it was a 180 ohm resistor to keep the current within reasonable limits for the LEDs. I think I figured about 30 milliamps per LED, and there was 10 LEDs remaining, so